So I deal with a lot of students that struggle in the reading and science section. They don't understand why they got a question wrong, right? So now there's 4 basic reasons for why students get questions wrong. Wrong use of details, opposite statements, outside the scope of the passage, and exaggerated details, right? So those are the 4 basic reasons why students get questions wrong. Now, wrong use of details are they present some details that are presented in the passage, right? Word for word almost, and they'll use them wrong in the answer choices. Now, the reason why students fall for this as a trap is because they remember reading it, right? You remember reading those exact words, but every single time, right, they're gonna be used wrong in the answer choice. Now, not always, and we'll come back to this in a little bit, but not always will they be wrong. And that's the one thing you have to be very careful with when it comes to that, is that they will present details to you, but they're not always, right? They're not always gonna be right, they're not always gonna be wrong. But be very careful when they do, right? A lot of times what happens is those are gonna be the wrong answer choices. Opposite statements, right? They're opposite to the correct answer, right? So opposite statements is like I tell you to go do something, right? I tell you to go over there, right? If you go to the other side of the room, right, you did opposite to what I told you. Now, it's not as definitively as and easy to see as that, but the one thing you want to look for there is you want to look for no, not, or accept, right? You want to look for those opposite statements, right? Those definitive words that are typically like, oh, opposite to the opposite, right? They're going to lead you to what you would have thought would have been the right answer choice, but those words, right, they actually make it opposite to what you thought it might have been. Now, again, easier than said than done, right? We'll go through a couple of different example problems as we go along here, but I just want to kind of lay it all out there. The third option is outside the scope of the passage. Now, this is an easy one to make a mistake on. Example, right? Let's say I have a dog, right? And I say that we like to go out and we like to go out and he gets muddy, right? He gets muddy and dirty all the time or whatever, and he likes to go out and about and all over the city, right? Now, let's say there's a question on do I go to dog parks, right? Now, did any part of that story, did I say that I went to dog parks? No, but a lot of times what happens is we just put 2 and 2 together and it's like, oh, he has a dog, he must go to dog parks. Unless if I definitively told you that I went to dog parks with my dog, you would not be right, right? Now, if there was a question that says that he goes to different parts of the city, right, with his dog, that in that case would be true. Right? I said that I go here, I go there, I go everywhere. Right? I said I go a lot of places with my dog. Now, again, that's the right way that they'll get you into trap answers on a test day, right? The test creators know that students will take details that they present, right, and they'll jump that bridge, right? Unless if there's a bridge there, right, you can't make that jump, right? Don't make that leap of faith. Right, the fourth option is exaggerated use of details, right? They'll present something in the passage, right, that maybe was true, maybe was something that was stated, right, but they'll use an exaggeration of that, right? They'll say always this, always that, never this, never that. So again, always never statements or only statements, right? Now, the big thing that you have to be very careful with here is that sometimes this could be true, but let's say your parents tell you never clean up after yourself, right? If you've ever cleaned up after yourself once in your lifetime, right, you have cleaned up after yourself. Therefore, never is not true. Now, don't go telling your parents that I told you that, but again, that's in the case on test day that you want to be very careful with. This is always, never, only statement. Now, it could be true, right? The sun always rises in the east, always sets in the west. That is a true statement. But there's not too many on the test day that you'll run into that will be that way. So be very careful when it comes to that. And that's your tip for the day.